welcome to the annual meeting of the Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh. My name is Meryl Ainsman, Chair of the Jewish Federation's Board of Directors. In this first online annual meeting, heartened to see so many familiar faces joining us remotely, as well as some first-timers. I want to thank the Lillian and Henry Goldstein Annual Meeting Endowment Fund, the Federation Jewish Community Foundation, which provides support for tonight's program. The fund has also underwritten the publication of this year's honor roll, which is available at jewishpgh.org. I want to welcome our past board chairs, lay leaders, and professionals of Jewish agencies and others who have worked so hard during the pandemic to keep our Jewish community healthy, safe, and connected. I welcome Representative Dan Frankel of the Pennsylvania House and any other politicians that may be joining us. Our first order of business is the election of new members of the Jewish Federation Board and a slate of new board officers. According to the requirements of the Federation's charter, this segment is presented to you live. To conduct this segment of the meeting, I welcome the chair of the nominating committee, Cindy Shapiro.
Thank you very much, Meryl, and I am so glad I have mastered the technology so far. This is a bittersweet night for all of us. We're so thrilled with everything that you've done for Federation, you know, your tenure as president was amazing. As chair of the board, I should say, was amazing. And I'm excited to welcome our new chair of the board as well. To get to some of that, I am now going to deliver a report of the nomination committee and then turn it over. I want to thank the nominating committee members for their service and send my appreciation to the members of the governance committee for their hard work in setting up the process that we're now utilizing. Before I begin presenting the nominating committee's recommendations, I do want to thank those who are completing their board service this year. I know, or I very much hope, each of you will continue to stay very involved and engaged with Federation, and I know Federation will continue to depend on your good counsel and advice, we've become reliant on that and will continue to do so. In recognition of your service, the Federation wants to present each of you with a beautiful tzedakah box. And unfortunately, since we can't be together, we can't do that in person, but we will send those boxes to you in the near future. And again, my sincerest thanks to each of you. So each of the following individuals is placed in nomination for his or her first 2-year term as a member of the board of directors. And those are Ami Baum, Ariella Belopolsky, Daniel Holtus, David Suffren, James Wagner, and Sharon Werner. In addition, each individual whose name follows is renominated to serve an additional 2-year term as a member of the board of directors. Joshua Farber, Marcia Marcus, Melissa Rakoff, Robert Silverman, and Marcy Solomon. So the polling will now appear magically on the screen. There it is. Those in favor of the slate of board members as presented, please vote aye. And any opposed, please vote nay, or you may abstain. Okay, have we finished the polling? Okay, the ayes have it, and this slate of board members is elected. Congratulations, new members, on your election to the board of the Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh. We so appreciate your service that will come. The nominating committee has also nominated a slate of officers. I place each of the following in nomination for election to a 1-year term as an officer of the Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh. And those people would be David Suffren as chair of the board, Stephen Halpern as vice chair, Jan Levinson as vice chair, and James Wagner as vice chair, Susan Berman Kress as secretary, Ellen Terry Kaplan Goldstein as Assistant Secretary, Gil Schneider as Treasurer, and Marcia Marcus, Assistant Treasurer. I now ask that only members of the Board of Directors vote on the slate of officers, and your polling will now again magically appear on the screen. Those in favor of the election of this list of officers, please vote aye. Those opposed, please vote nay, or you may abstain. Thank you very much. The ayes have it, and the slate of officers is elected. Mazel tov to our new officers. Dave Suffren, we so look forward to your leadership of our federation. And this concludes the nominating committee's report. Thank you, Meryl.
And the polling, I think we have to continue to do this in some way in the future. But thank you, and congratulations to Dave Suffren and all the newly elected board members. Thanks also to all of our past chairs and to the outgoing board members, Richard Gutman, Judy Canal, Scott Lieb, Charles Porter, and Scott Tobe, all of whom have served so well during one of the most challenging periods in the history of Jewish Pittsburgh. I really want to thank you. I'll keep my remarks short this evening. You spent enough time in virtual get-togethers. I encourage you to read more in the Jewish Federation's online annual report at, again, jewishpgh.org. Tonight, I'll focus on just two areas, despite the Federation's many, many achievements this past year. First, I want to report on the Federation's ongoing efforts regarding the anti-Semitic attack of October 27, 2018. In 2019, the Federation brought together 14 organizations to create an October 27th commemoration. Through the commemoration, a day of learning and working together, we remembered the people we lost, the injured, and the attack on our community. The Federation continues to help heal our city from the 10/27 attack. I'll mention just one example, Federation's role in securing a $3.9 million grant. With this grant, 9 Pittsburgh area organizations, including Dor Hadash, New Light, and Tree of Life or Listimcha congregations, each received a share of that amount from the U.S. government's anti-terrorism and emergency assistance program. Federation's planning staff helped organizations apply for those AEAP funds, which will be used to reimburse attack-related expenses. The AEAP grant will also provide stable funding for the Resiliency Center, now called the 1027 Healing Partnership, to help us recover over the long term. Many will need help for years. The Jewish Federation will be here, as always, to support that healing. The second area on which I want to focus is, no surprise, the coronavirus pandemic. What the Jewish Federation has done during the pandemic shows the power of your support of the Jewish Federation's community campaign. Your campaign commitments come to the Jewish Federation as unrestricted dollars. Because the dollars are unrestricted, when the pandemic struck, our board and volunteer leaders were able to act quickly, moving more than $1.2 million to Jewish organizations to help people in sudden and significant need. Your support lifted up families and lives in the following areas: the already vulnerable people, seniors, children, teens and families, and emergency funding for food insecurity and career assistance. The pandemic highlighted the importance of the Jewish Federation's role in community planning. We continue to convene our beneficiary agencies as we plan for enormous future needs. Federation planning staff is working with Brandeis University to capture data about our community members' needs and response. Federation staff helped our agencies and synagogues prepare to apply for the SBA loans. They offered webinars with experts in many fields. Staff members connected people to needed services. Federation monitored community security and distributed personal protective equipment across the community. Sadly, I don't have time to detail all of the other amazing Federation initiatives, such as a new young adult engagement platform of clubs, a Jewish security program that earned national attention, and a socially responsible business called 412 by 972, which connects Pittsburgh and Israeli businesses. Also a Shin Shanim program that doubled in size, bringing Israeli youth here to volunteer and connect us to each other and to Israel. As we say in Yiddish, I want to kvel about all of them. In the face of the 1027 attack, we said and we acted stronger together. Through the pandemic and all of this year's developments, the phrase has never been truer. Though physically apart, we are stronger together in spirit and in accomplishment. I'm so honored to have served this strong Jewish community for 3 eventful years as chair of the board. I'm grateful that we have such a strong incoming chair, Dave Suffren. And now, for my last time as chair, I introduce my Federation partner, Jeff Finkelstein.